Ready? Okay, we will reconvene the budget workshop for the 26th budget. First on our agenda around lunch is Circuit Court, Judge Leach. County General Budget 232, total budget requested $206,661. Up a fraction for last year. We voted earlier, like we've done in the past, Judge, that we're gonna do the 1,000 categories at the end. Then all the salary stuff, but we can talk about it now, but we won't make any decision today on that category. And then the rest of them will make adjustments today as needed. We made a motion also that every budgets would be the same as last year unless otherwise by line item adjusted. Okay, so you have very $510 request in the two increase in the 2 and 3 and 4,000 categories.
Why so much?
Actually, we just try to throw some stuff in there to make you guys work a little harder.
Give us something to do.
We sure appreciate that. And if you need explanations for anything, I'm happy to hear it.
I'll make a motion to approve the circuit court submission under general fund 232 as requested.
Second.
In categories 2,000, 3,000, 1,000.
Second. Who seconded that?
Matt,
Well, Dave did earlier.
go ahead.
We're gonna say Matt. Motion by Tom, seconded by Matt to approve the 2, 3, and 4,000 categories as requested in the Circuit Court County General Budget. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Do you want to talk anything about the 1,000? I mean, just got a
And
slight
we just have some
increase.
really great employees down there and I think they deserve a raise and as do everybody in the county. And I hope you guys take into consideration the economic changes we've been facing, especially utilities, and make good decisions as you typically do and reward them accordingly. I'll leave that at that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public Defender Budget 250. An increase of $50,000 in contractual services. I assume that's,
Been busy this year. It's no sign of letting up. I know just one sample is, I think they average one murder trial a year for the last so many. I think we've had 3 already this year. And it's just really taxing and it kind of rolls over to the other things we do with public defenders and I know both courts have had substantial discussions about this. It's just, we're busy, we're a lot busier, and just having to appoint more public defenders, and it's just a reality of where we're at.
so what, was this in the commissioner's budget for a while? Was it,
You know, I
was in
don't-
one of the courts, then it went to commissioners and back, am I right on that?
It's, the public defender has always had this location. But the public defender, invoices used to go to the commissioner years ago. And we changed that back and put it under your guys', I think you guys would be how it worked, but we put it in there, back under your guys'.
I just remember that was.
It seems like over the years, there's been different ways we've done different things to try to get to the same thing, but
Both courts use that though, right?
yes, this is for both courts.
And I believe when it was under the commissioners, it was because you had contractual public defenders is why. Now that I think about it, it was contractual public defenders, and we do not have that.
Correct.
I just remember it's a couple different ways,
Yeah. Ever changing.
ever change.
I'll make a motion to approve the public defender to 0250 as submitted.
Second. Motion by Tom, second by Meg to approve the 250 public defender budget as requested. Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Should carry. What are we going to now? 12, 11.
This one.
Yeah, this is the best one I've seen all day.
Horrible,
So what's the,
guardian.
go ahead. What's the reason for, decrease?
Can you explain to me a little bit more detail which one we're on?
Oh, we're on the
No,
one
uh,
that contractual services under the
User
user
fee
fee
guardian.
guardian.
Guardian ad litem?
Yeah.
Um. I can tell you that generally what we do is, we get an amount from the state as far as what they're contributing grant wise to the program. And we kind of essentially match it. We work a joint program with, Jasper County ways so that, we train, share a director and things, and so this just happens to be what it is this year.
So if you don't mind, real brief, got a couple of numbers, just a real quick, what is this budget paid for? What is guardian?
So in cases involving children, certain types, we have to appoint either a court-appointed special advocate or a guardian ad litem. Their goal and their responsibility is to look out for the best interest of the children. They don't work for the courts, they don't work for the families, they don't work for any of the attorneys. They're basically a volunteer organization that their job is to look out for the best interest of the children and report back to the court in those cases. We do have a budget for a director who oversees the volunteers. And also we pay for a little bit of training, I think, some of the stuff. And so, we train the volunteers, provide them with some ongoing assistance. And then a director's office that oversees the program, and administrates it, it's all the day-to-day things.
I will make a motion to approve fund 1211. Sarah, as requested.
I'll second.
Motion Tom, second by Heidi to approve the 911 budget as requested. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carried.
Now that we have that funded, I will put out the advertisement. We're always looking for good volunteers, so anybody here who has any interest in helping kids or anybody out there, get in contact with us. We'd be happy to have you. I think we're gonna have another training session coming up a little bit later this fall.
This anything like the CASA program?
It is the CASA program. Right? Guardian ad litem CASA, yeah. We have a court-appointed special advocate program. There's separate from that is CASA or guardian ad litems. Although they're under the same funding for here, the CASA is a separate program that does special things in relation to children services. Mostly. Guardian ad litems can be also in divorces and attorney cases, things like that.
But it all comes out.
It all comes out of this, but it all comes down to the same thing. They're people that investigate and make reports back to the court about the best interest of the children.
like a social worker to do it or
Nope.
trading?
The guardian ad litem program, the state's taking more steps towards a certification program, although our program is not in the state program, there's still general rules that we need to follow, so they do have to have some basic qualifications, although it's not a degree or anything.
Any other questions before we move on? Juvenile supplemental, 2150, looks like it's the same as last year.
It is.
That we're using, and so that will remain from our first motion.
Yeah.
Right.
No action.
Perfect, no action needed on that. We asked that on our first motion.
Try to keep it simple. All right, so I apologize, I don't have the agenda in front of me. Probation, when's that come up?
Now.
Right now.
Yeah.
It could be right now.
Alana?
But up.
Come on.
Hold on, get it up. Wait, okay.
I'm fine. It's all right. Yes.
You kid on the block. You just see
We'll sit in the kitty chair. Yeah, like a kitty table. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, guys. So what are we gonna,
This is the adult supplemental.
Are you on 235?
we'll be on whatever you want us to be. Is that what you want us to be on?
We can, well, Fund 1,000, location 235, general probation, general fund, adult probation.
Budget request, $237,096. Slide, correct. Just a little bit too much. Store, or what we had decided was 1,000 categories. We weren't doing anything, taking official action today, talk about it, although this. Past, we have addressed this, right? Because part of this is mandated.
Yeah. The state says the minimum of what we have to pay.
On all of these.
The reason it's a little less than what the state is because we supplement out of adult probation.
Okay.
One of them's.
1,200 probably, you probably said that.
I take that back, I'm not the clerical.
And I believe the difference is the clerical and the sick payout out of this one increased a little bit from last year, from the 2025.
What it looks like.
Yes.
The clerical increased 5.26% and the sick day paid 1.53%.
So for those, refresher, for those of us who've been here a while. In probation funds, probation officer, we are told what this will be, is that correct, by the state?
The state sets a minimum salary guideline for probation officers based on things like years of experience or whatever. So the counties can't go below that. They can always go higher.
So we can't minimum now. I think
Traditionally, we've taken them.
I believe 2025, we are 2,500 above the minimums, and that's the same amount that we asked for 2026, is what we got in 2025.
So a couple pages behind, you will see what the state is setting our rates.
And the 2,500 was for three of us. Yeah,
Exactly the same.
they were all the same. They didn't. There were no raises.
So last year when we still had home detention or correctional services. The request was instead of paying 5,000, the request was 7,500. And, that way, when we bumped that to 2,500, then two of the chief deputy and one of the other deputies got 7,500 instead of 2,500 out of adult probation. But then the other deputy still received 5,000. It's confusing, but
I remember that, but I don't remember. Part of that. Vividly.
so hard not to remember that.
It was kind of hard not to.
So we take their minimum salary and we will subtract out that 5,000 or that 7,500 to help save on county general. And then the adult probation is a fee base that they collect when they have defendants that come in. And so we use that money to help save on county general funds.
Wasn't quite that smooth. All things environment. What's,
I do have a question on that administrative on that 2,000 then, since we are flip-flopping within our office, do we need to change those numbers as far as what amount comes out of which?
I believe when I spoke with Jeff Ryan, we got looking at this, I don't believe that we have to technically flip flop because one says it's a probation officer and the other one just says deputy probation officer. They both have a one by it. So I don't feel that
That I
I
need-
have to flip flop. You're
So
still-
I just need to flip-flop them in my brain then. Okay. Cause the numbers always matched coming across as the 700. So that's fine. I'll just make sure I keep that straight
I
my
didn't
own mind.
feel in our system, it's a lot more just a flip flop
Okay,
with your guys' positions.
No, that's
The
fine.
Titles are pretty much the same.
okay.
And the clerical assistant, is that based on like first deputy pay, or is that a special different than that, or?
That person was already at first deputy pay, but they're asking for above that.
So what do you guys, you wanna address any of it now, or do you wanna wait till we do the 1,000, so we're at least take action on the.
Why don't we just wait?
Let's just wait and do it all.
I mean, it looks like pretty much everything's in order as far as what I've seen. And more than likely, it's just gonna take it or get approved as it is. Probably because we really don't have a choice in most cases.
The only one you'll have to look at is the clerical,
The clerk.
Yeah.
But the other,
because the other three, the states.
Yeah, in clerical, as far as that goes.
Yeah, not to interrupt your
there might,
discussion, but just for clarity, so that is the one that I do think you have full discretion on.
we,
Right.
And that 2.83%, that came from our estimation as to, I know you're having a very tough year and your limitations, so I think we're kind of all of the same opinion when we discussed it. I think we would obviously agree, and from a team player point, whatever raises that you do give, if you're able to give any, that's what the anticipation was, it would be 2%. So that's where that number came from.
good. Very good. So I think the consensus is we'll address that, the whole 1,000. Doesn't look like there's any more questions.
No.
No, okay.
Let's try to do.
So 250, we've already done that, right?
I don't know, they're fine, as a one,
Do anything you want to add to that?
the public defender.
No, I think Judge Leach spoke to it. I guess I will want to start out with a lot of positive stuff. This is the first meeting I've ever got to come see all of them together, but in that vein, I guess I'll use my phrasing carefully. The public defender program or resources here in the county, it's an ongoing battle to try and keep within the scope of providing the minimum competent services and then competing with these other areas and these other counties, because they all have very lucrative contacts that they try to attract people to the area. So my point being, keep an eye on that. I think we've talked to Tammy about it. I think we're well within our budget so far this year, in the budget that Judge Moulter said last year. We've got 2 murder trials coming up in October. And depending on how those go, Tammy watches that really closely for us, which is greatly appreciated. And we're trying not to have to go into an additional this year. We had an additional carryover from last year that kind of bit into that budget. So kind of started when it hit. So I can't take that one, but depending on how things play out this year, I think we'll be okay, or if we're not, we're gonna be real close. But it is an ongoing battle to try and make that work. And I just want to make you aware of it. There may be days, we can't control the amount of crime that takes place in the county.
Not having a problem with finding public defenders, it's just funding it.
Well, in the sense of, we've been very fortunate this year. When I started, I was talking to Judge Leach about this earlier. I had, mainly we're down to about 2 to go to public defenders. And we've been able to attract some of the younger ones from Jasper. And there's a lot of reasons why. And I don't want to take up your meeting time, other than to tell you, it is important you know this. We don't presently have a public defender commission. And there are pros and cons to doing that. I know Linda and I have talked about this, and there may be a day when we want to do that, because you can potentially qualify to get some reimbursement. But there are also some cons in that program. And right now, we are capitalizing on those cons, in that the public defenders that are contract over in Jasper County in their commission, they are presently under the law permitted to come over here and go above their hours, because there's a set ceiling on how many hours the public defender can work under that commission. And so they're in essence moonlighting over here, and they're providing great service. So we've had an influx of those folks able to come over and help us. But I don't know if that will always be the case. And if they close that provision and they are limited from coming over, then we are going to have problems with staffing and personnel. And so we need to make it competitive.
And in addition, I think it's important to put out this information. We're competing with other counties around who have offered them significant, these public defenders, significant contracts with benefits as well. And so it's harder and harder to compete with these other counties that way. The flexibility we have with the way ours is set up allows us to do that a little bit. And, so it's kind of a changing atmosphere out there. So we're keeping an eye on things. Hopefully we can continue to go forward like this, but there may come a day that we're gonna have to be more competitive in order to keep the people, involved over here and be able to provide those services. Because there's services we can't say no to, some we have to. So,
What does that look like? You know, not exact numbers, but financially, what does that look like? Is that like a 20%, 50%?
This $50,000 out of the budget that we're on the increase now.
No, if we have to go to like the commission or something like that, is that like 100% increase?
Yeah.
What does that generally look like?
So as far as, I can't specifically answer the question as to numbers. What I can tell you is the way that the mechanisms work is that they will reimburse you, I think, for felonies right now, and I think they have some pilot programs where they'll reimburse you for misdemeanor costs to a certain degree. The trick there is you have to operate within their standards, and it's kind of one of those things where they set the rules about who qualifies as a public defender and how long they work and how many hours they get, and they also set up an administrative structure. So if you were to create a commission here, you would need a direct, and the thing that kills us, and is always, I've looked at this before over the years. We are the threshold, if you go to Benton County, they have a commission and they operate their public defender. But the reason is because they're under the threshold of, I think it's 12,000 residents.
Okay.
So the judge can effectively do it, right? He's just processed paperwork through his court staff. Now, when you get over that, now we hit Jasper County. They have to have a director for the public defenders. They have kind of their own entity altogether that they've created. I don't want to use the word bureaucracy, but it's another form of almost like a department. I think the chief of that, the salaries are very lucrative and they get benefits and insurance.
Okay.
So to switch over to that commission, we'd have to assess that really closely on the cost of it. I can tell you from my experience, and anybody can weigh in here that also knows, but right now, I think we're ahead doing it the way we're doing it. I don't know how much longer that's gonna be the case. Okay. We try to make it real user friendly for them. We try to work around their hours and schedules to the extent that we can. And they're also, again, the money they make over here and the hours they put in over here are not capped against their contract. So again, it's kind of moonlight for today. Does that answer your question?
Do you think the state may get everybody else counties, and make that?
Well, I don't know that there's talk of that. I don't know that they would ever get to the point where they would mandate it. I think they might reverse that, in which case I think we'd really want to look at it where they make it more lucrative or more beneficial for counties of our size to want to be part of it. Right now, I don't see it being there. Where I'm worried though, is if they close the opportunity for them to work in other counties over and above their limits on their hours there, they close what I would say reluctantly as a loophole. We're gonna be in a bad shape. You're gonna have to collectively, we are gonna have to come up with a lucrative package so good that we can start to attract people. Because remember, we also don't have a lot of attorneys here. And so they all, I mean, half of them are in this room. So to find a public defender that wants to do that type of job and come here to Newton County, Indiana to do it, you really gotta make an inviting package for them to do it.
and that kind of touches on an issue that is gonna be an important one going forward for everybody. So there's a real shortage of attorneys in the state of Indiana, and that's especially felt in the rural communities. And so our leadership has been working hard at trying to figure out ways to address that. And so whether mandating certain things with regard to all public defenders or loosening some restrictions on that, we don't know how that's gonna look yet, but I know it's something they're looking at and studying, trying to figure out ways to help with that shortage. So we don't know how it's gonna impact our public defender approach in the future, but things are gonna be changing one way or another. We'll just wait and see what it is.
Ready to move on to the next budget? 1104. User fee, alcohol, drug, same as before, or
Yeah, you gotta jump.
I hate to cut out, but I've got some hearings. Is there anything else for me? And I know we've talked all about probation, community corrections, all these things, so. I'm fine with these guys handling that. Appreciate your time.
Thank you,
Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Judge.
Judge, if you're going to speak, I don't wanna cut you off either, but if we, because Julia will have to be with your court hearing, can we bring Julia up real quick for home?
Sure.
detention? Will that work real quick? Sorry.
Yep.
And then we can get her out of the. Put her in the hot seat.
So we're gonna go to 4931 home detention. Yeah, ready.
If we could real quick, please.
Should be a tab, I assume.
Yes. Almost to the very back yellow.
It is. Way, 4931 home detention. $37,935 budget request. Very little changes from.
He replaced Brad.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
I didn't know, I don't know if y'all knew who you are.
I'm sorry, yes. So for anybody who may not know, Brad Buckley was previously the New County Community Corrections Director. He resigned, his last day was Friday, and the Community Corrections Board voted to transfer those duties to Julia. She was already a probation officer, and so she has a background in community corrections, and it just kind of made sense when she expressed an interest in taking over those responsibilities. So this is Julia.
Welcome. Oh,
Thank you.
a total change in the budget of $51.
It's a hard.
You know where 20 of it is?
She's coming off on the right foot.
Yeah. Post office box.
16% increase in that post office box.
We went through that a year or two ago. That was the hot topic. We haven't seen much of that this year, so. Actually. This one you could.
And
do
this is
in
a
budget.
fee-based fund, and currently, as of this morning, there's still $198,597. And
Spend a lot more.
I'll make,
He's only gonna be using 37,000, or almost 38,000, so. I think they're doing a good job. They're still collecting every month.
What's your motion, Tom?
I'll make a motion to accept the 4931 series 2,000 and 3,000 as submitted.
David? Motion from Tom, second by David to approve the 2,000 and 3,000 categories as requested in the 4931 home detention hookup budget. Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried.
Thank
That was pretty easy.
See you next year.
Now we can go back to Jeff Ryan.
Okay, so now where are we going to now? Let's start the vote. What's that?
Little over four.
What are you going to?
1104.
User fee and alcohol, drug.
Oh, that's what I was on.
We'll have to go back because, main.
We don't have to do anything on 1104 because there's no changes from last year. We
That's
made
correct.
we made a motion at the beginning to leave everything the same. So we're done with that one.
Yeah.
That was quick. Now, 1164, which is the same thing.
User fee and jury pay exactly the same.
Actually, needed there, 2,000, is there any action on 2,000?
So I think 2,000 is exactly the same, but is that where the supplements come from, Tammy, on the probation?
Yes.
Yeah, so that shows you the numbers, if you're curious.
Can find the budgets.
But, yeah, it's exactly the same as 2,000.
To the top, you just pass it. Go higher up, no,
So I gotta be, I'm looking the wrong way. There. That was a lot of work to, for no action needed. Yeah. And that's, now we've got. We're just down to the Superior Court budget. Correct.
Or you have to do 21.
Yeah, I should have one left.
That is, no changes in that either.
There. The 2100.
Tammy, can I ask you a question? Okay, just out of curiosity, I missed this, or I would have asked you another time. I see, if you pull up 2,000 adult probation services fund. Those numbers are exactly the same, and that's FICA and PERF. And they haven't changed. But then the thing that throws me, and I'm sure there's a reason for this. If you pull up the 4931 home detention, those are really the only changes are PERF and FICA and Medicare, and they have gone up. Why do they go up in that category, in that, under that fund and not the other ones?
I noticed that too.
I think they rounded whole numbers instead of just staying back. That's, I can't tell you, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna take that 7,500
Uh-huh,
and you're going to, for Medicare, you're gonna take it times 1.45%. And then the FICA OASI, which is Social Security, you're gonna take that 7,500 times 6.2%. And then back to PERF, you'll do that 7,500 times 11.2%. I'm not quite sure why we adjusted up.
oh, and I mean, I'm fine with whatever, it's a minimal thing, I just want to make sure I didn't make a mistake here on this, but that's coming from me.
So let's,
And it might not have known the numbers of what you have to take at times.
in those cases, we don't get real concerned about that kind of stuff because. once
Yeah, we
get-
can't
once-
control it.
We can't control it. Once we get the salary, that kind of takes care of it, so that makes sense.
It makes lots of sense. I just didn't want to start my first budget hearing by perjuring myself and giving you false numbers. So I'll wait till my second budget hearing. to do that.
It used to be like everybody else, just come back and ask for more money.
That's, there you go.
So all of the other budgets were the same as last year. So I think we're ready for the county general budget for Superior Court 201, a white tab.
I skipped it on the agenda.
It's not on your printed agenda. It's 201 in the white, the county general budget front. Third front, fourth front.
Everything else covered then, other than that last budget, because then I think, Michelle, can you go back?
About
I should have a 2,100.
But there's no change.
Good, you know, it's the same.
No change.
So we're good? Okay.
I believe, I mean, that's what my book shows, no changes.
Which one?
MC.
Oh, yeah.
I think all we have is that 2,000, it's not on our.
Oh, here it is, yeah, 21. It's all the same.
County general. It's the county general 201, the budget for the Superior.
All right then. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
There was a landfill budget. Well, no, Tammy, she wrote this in. But that's in landfill.
There was a question I had. Or how is it that you were able to zero out witness fees?
What line is that, Tom?
Seven, 600.
Yeah.
Oh, up in the, okay.
On the witness fees.
Yeah. Now granted, this is the 1,000 series, I apologize.
Right now, but let's talk about it.
Judge, I remember on the witness fees that you guys haven't used it in a few years, so I think we just.
Well, take me back to, I'm looking for that line item.
Fifth one down from the top,
Yeah, one.
under Baylor.
1,600. 1,600.
I've got per diem grand jurors, per diem pettit jurors.
Above the.
Yeah.
Above the.
Witness fee.
You guys are going off, and this is my fault, you're going off the more, I've only got the printed, but let's talk about it, I still understand the question. So the question is why or how were we able to zero that out?
However you'd like to answer that.
Yeah, I'll answer it very easily. So what we did is we went back and looked at previous budgets as to what that money was used for and why it wasn't being used. And I kind of made a gut determination that it just hasn't been utilized. It just wasn't money that was really being put to effect. Now, granted, maybe the day that I decided to do that, knowing with my luck on January 2nd, will be something where we gotta go in. But I also think we have enough, I think the way that our budget is set up, if we haven't used it in a couple years, whatever comes in under that category is gonna be something that we should be able to address, you know, by looking at specifically. And one of the challenges in doing this is where I started was I wanted to understand what each fund, what category, and when I say that, I guess my terminology is still new, but a line item across, like what can that money be used for and what can it not be used for? Because that will dictate obviously how we're running the office. And, what I came to learn on that one is don't know that we ever got a real clear picture of what that witness fund line was for. You know, the court doesn't pay witnesses. I don't know whether it was in criminal cases, maybe to assist or somehow transport or compel third parties in some type of court proceeding to get a third party witness to attend. But I don't know that I ever got an answer to that. And rather than ask for money and have to sit in a fund that is going to sit there and not be used, just zeroed it out. It wasn't that much. So I don't know if that answers your question. It's not a great answer, but that's the answer.
Well, I was just curious, but it seemed like everybody else participates in the court system, it's there and on somewhere. So I was just making sure that.
I can address this in a more general sense. I have this great big elaborate speech that I was gonna open with, because I haven't been up here yet. And, but I can tell by the look on your faces and the energy level in the room, you guys have a lot to do today and you don't need a lot of extra talking. You've been waiting for this? All right, let me get my PowerPoint out.
Your skin is probably just the fact that we come back from lunch.
Is that what it is? That's why I was hoping this would get, just don't fall asleep. This is it in nuts and bolts. I've worked with most of you over the years. Some of you, I think, know me pretty well and how I do things. Some of you maybe understand that. Some of you maybe don't and are like, whatever. But what I can tell you across the board, I came into this job with a couple fundamental principles of how we're going to try and do business down there. One of them is we're going to make things more efficient to the extent, and this is not a criticism of anybody that preceded me. I inherited an amazing system down there working with great people, but we're going to make them more efficient. There isn't going to be waste of time or money. We're going to do as much as we can and more with less. We're going to use IT and we're going to use discipline to basically make processes more efficient. So what I mean specifically by that is we're implementing right now, for example, Judge Leach, who took the spirit that he and I together, the first thing I felt like would really help is if the courts started to develop a better partnership, right? And I don't think I need to speak to that much more other than to say the circuit court of the judge of this county has been as supportive and helpful to me as anybody in it since I took that job on January 1. And that's saying a lot because, I mean, if I start naming all the people that have helped me to get to this point, it's going to be endless. But I mean, that's where we start, is that the taxpayers and the residents and the elected officials of this county deserve a court system that's unified, that is professional, and we're all working together. And that's mutual. And so when we start doing that, it makes things easier. Like we can cover hearings for each other without additional expenses or PDs, and we can work around each other's schedule to make it more efficient. So that starts to go downhill. The prosecutors also bought into that. And you're starting to see the system work a little bit more effectively. Again, it's changed a lot. You know, I mean, again, I'm not criticizing anything that was there before, but that's one of the fundamental things. Second thing is we want to use technology. We want to use our IT resources to make things faster and easier. And we're in the process of doing that. We were able, Judge Leach is really responsible for this. I was just along for the ride. We got a $40,000 IT grant from the Office of Court Services and the Supreme Court to upgrade our court systems. That's a lot of money, and it's being implemented right now. It's the process is going longer than we like, but Michael and Kyle and his group have been great in trying to effectuate that and get it up to date. That IT that we're putting in there is going to do really remarkable. It's one of the first systems in Indiana that will be able to do this. It's got AI incorporated in it, and most specifically, it's got voice recognition. So in the past, if you wanted a transcript, say the prosecutor, there were days and days of delay. There were all kinds of people that needed to be involved and a heck of a lot of typing and going back and listening to recordings and this thing, we're still trying to get it to work right, but it's there. It'll just type it for you. And that cuts down, that staff can be doing something. So I can go on and on about this. I don't want to take your day up doing it, but all of those little changes are collectively adding up to make it where my goal was to operate on the budget I was given for this year, and I've done that, I think, for the most part. And then to not exceed that, at least to any significant amount for next year. Until I do this job well enough and understand it enough to know this is really where our assets need to be focused. These are things that we can really save some money on. And it really has turned out to be kind of a wash. We had a significant budget in some other line items that really wasn't necessary. I mean, I have a little bit of depth in those things. I can access some of those records and those law books, et cetera, by the internet. The Supreme Court allows us maybe some programs that maybe we didn't realize in the past. Like we have free accounts down there that we can use to do legal research. A lot of those things have opened up some of this budget. So that's the goal, and that's, my speech. The only other thing that I do want to press about all of it, if you take anything away, is how appreciative I am of all the people in the county and the department heads. All the way to your the maintenance guys, bent over backwards. They went in there, I didn't want new furniture. I didn't want anything done. I just wanted to get to work. They come in over the weekend while I was gone. They get it all cleaned up. It's a huge deal to me, and I'll always be thankful for it because I didn't know what to expect. So that's the heart of what I had to say on the front end. Now, ask me about the numbers and I'll tell you.
Okay.
There's not much to ask about.
Yeah, I like the beginning. There's a lot of negatives in the 2000, 3000 series, which is very appreciative to the point that I would make the motion to accept your 0201 County Generals Series 2 and 3000 as requested.
Second. Nick. Motion by Tom, seconded by Mick to approve the 2 and 3000 categories in Superior Court 201 County General Budget as requested. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. You want to talk about the 1000? What you're here, Judge?
Sure. So this would be the salaries?
Yep.
Okay, so let's start with myself, 11,106. That $5,000 is there's a statute that allows the county, it's similar to the other offices we talked about. You can contribute up to that amount to your circuit and superior court judges. My knowledge, that's always been the case. That's discretionary. If I ever upset you, or you're upset about me, or you don't think I'm doing my job, you take it away, and you shouldn't. So that's what that $5,000 is. Court reporter, and that's the most significant jump. You see, that's 14%, and that's $6,545. The reason for that is that was switched from a 35-hour work week to a 40-hour work week. As I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, every other department in the county and most elected officials are using the 40-hour week. I needed, when I was coming in, and particularly during the transition, again, I'm still learning the job, but I needed, the court reporter that I have is Gina Zilo, who's worked for me for upwards in 20, 25 years. And she was willing to come over and take a significant pay cut in order to do that, if we could assess that what her salary would be, and she was willing to do it if we had the 40 hours in. So that's what the difference is that 5 hours in set salary. The second category, or the third line, which is 502, is court administrator. That's Shelley Murphy. Shelley was there as the court reporter before, and when I came in, I had to make some adjustments. And it was very difficult to do that, quite frankly. We had some great people already there, and it was a really hard decision to make. But one of the things that I needed for the benefit of the office was continuity. Shelley has been there a long time and did a fantastic job, and obviously was a court reporter for Judge Moulter. So when we shifted her over, she's been great. She also helps, so we try to cross-train people. But that difference of 5.87%, that's because her anniversary date is triggered in September. So that's, as I understand it, why that number goes up. She's just been here that long, and she just now triggered into the new date. Okay.
But the former employee that was there wasn't that much in the pay matrix, so.
Yeah, she was lower.
Got a question?
Sure.
On, your court reporter,
Uh-huh.
it's gonna remain 40 hours?
Yeah.
Okay. And the court administrator then still 35?
Right, and so we talked about, and that's, yeah, that's what I anticipate now, depending on how things go over the next year. So for next year, I'm gonna leave that at 35. If the day comes when we aren't getting things done, and I know we're doing everything we can to get the work done and it's not getting out, then I may come back to you and ask you, maybe I need to go to 40 like everybody else. But right now, I think just having the one at 40 and then with the comp time, I think we're okay. You know, I think we can run on that budget.
And just because, I mean, that's new people in some of these seats.
Yeah.
The circuit court, I believe, is all 35.
They are all 35.
Everybody was 35 up until.
Probation and prosecutor, they're all 35.
That's exact. Well, I don't know about prosecutor, but I guess, is that their staff is 35?
Is the reporter at 40 now, or will go to 40?
No, it's 40 now,
It's 40
as
now.
of January 1.
January 1,
That was the transfers that people just done on Wednesday's meeting.
okay.
Cause what happens is she could take it in comp time, so you're still paying it out.
Right.
This way, we're just not building up the comp time, we're physically paying it out, so the only time it goes into comp time is overtime.
Right.
Didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, by all means, I'm
I
happy
mean,
to
break
answer.
your flow, but
The transparency is critical to doing this job right, so if you have questions, by all means, you're not gonna offend me, just ask them. So that was, and then we go on to the bailiff, and, I don't know how many of you know or have worked with our bailiff, Rick Younger, he was at the jail. One of the diamonds that I was fortunate enough to inherit when we came over, he, goes above and beyond. And, you know, and I mean that, I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it, because I really didn't know kind of where I was gonna be. But, it so happens, he is the lowest paid bailiff in the courthouse as at the time, as of now. And what we're trying to do, I've talked to the auditor in great detail about trying to get his salary up to where it's kind of comparable. But the trick there, again, full transparency, is the bailiffs down the hall, they are, as I understand it, are part-time employees. Correct. And so they kind of split a position, whereas Ricky, he's full-time in his position. So so if you really want to try to do apples and oranges, he gets county benefits and insurance, but the part-time guys don't. There are two of them, but they're paid significantly more. And, one of the things I can tell you, some of you may remember, some of you may not, is that it is very important for the harmony and the effectiveness of the team to make sure there's parity in both courts and everybody kind of is treated equally and fairly. And now, those are not always the same thing, but I give great deference to that, having looked at the past and been part of it. We don't want anybody down there feeling like they're not being treated appropriately, or that one side's getting a little bit more than the other side without just cause. So that was well taken into consideration. And so this bump, this isn't, it doesn't make him the highest paid or put him above anybody else. It basically gets him back to kind of a more reasonable point where he feels like he's being treated appropriately, and still maintain some harmony with the other end of the hall. And again, I'm just trying to be as candid as I can with you, because I don't know how else to be though. So that's that. One thing, and again, you can discuss it and haven't asked this, but it is something I learned. I continue to learn a lot about what goes in that courtroom, even though I've been down there for a long time prior to being a judge. And the bailiff's duties are significantly more than you might think. And I learned, I didn't realize, I mean, and every court runs different. The judges have to do different things, but you know, Ricky, for example, he really, when we have jury trials, it takes up a lot of management, people management. He does jury instructions. He sends out all the notice, all the jurors call to him. And it's a lot broader scope of things than I thought. I really was kind of dismayed to see how much he already had on his plate, because I wanted to shift that role to more of a supplement to like court security concerns and issues, which is a discussion we will have at another time in the near future. But he's stretched pretty thin as it is, so he volunteers a lot and tries to help everybody else, but that's kind of it's not the role that you see on TV where you see the armed guard come across and carry paperwork, and he's down there working.
We had covered this under comp time payout.
Uh-huh.
Why is that increase so much, 2/3?
So last year we had $550 in our comp time. And it's increased for a number of reasons. This year, or this is the transition period of coming in and having, so I came in on January 1st, theoretically, on January 3rd, which was the first day of court. We had, our hearing set murder trial, about 27 other cases. So it took, and it's still taking a great deal of time administratively to get that up and running. And I asked a lot of both Shelley and Gina to be there. What triggers that is, well, this year, that's why the comp time is kind of accumulated to a significant, I think it's a lot. And I felt like, hey, we need to get a handle on that and know where we are as far as budgeting goes in the future. So the answer to your question is, the comp time this year arose in large part because of those initial months of transferring over and kind of bringing my people in and learning, having them stay late and learning new systems and things like that. Now, in the future, where that comp time is generally going to be generated is most likely from jury trials. Anytime, because they just go late, takes a lot of time to catch up. And while we're in there doing the jury trial, we're limited on staff to keep up on all the other civil and criminal cases that are coming in. But to answer your question for this year, David, the reason the comp time is where it was and that additional transfer was required was because of the time, extra work involved in the transition. Now, moving forward to next year, why I want that $5,000 in that comp time is because I want to make sure that we can pay that out and not have them bumping up against that 240, which makes everybody real uncomfortable. And we want to keep a handle on it. And I have insurance from my staff that that is not going to voluntarily happen. They're not down there churning comp time in order to cash it in or putting in unnecessary overtime.
What's your reference to 240? Is that an hour threshold work?
Yeah, so you, as if I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think 240 is the number of how much comp time you can carry before the county has to pay it out. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so if you have employees down there that are racking 250, I mean, if they hit over 240, you have to pay that money out, and you can't let them carry it over.
I have to excuse myself. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for your attention.
They say up there.
Any questions on the 1,000 category? Judge Ryan? We will address those items. Wednesday. Very good. Probably can send an email out at some point and we can kind of have an idea, posted on exactly when that.
Very good. Well, let me know. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to set up an appointment to talk to you or give me a call, whatever's most convenient for you. Other than that, while I'm here, is there anything else any of you want to talk about, either involving the budget or involving the courts? All right.
No, I don't hear anything about the court, so that must be going smooth.
Well,
That's always a good thing.
What I expected is somebody to ask me how was it going, and my answer would be, ask the other folks down there. Like, I'll tell you what I think, but if you really want to know, ask them. Like, ask the people in the clerk's office or the auditor's office, or treasurer's office, what they see going on upstairs.
Well, what I think is I haven't heard anything, so that must be a good thing.
Yeah, I think that's the case. I will tell you again, I don't want to monopolize your meeting. There was a push in February to get rid of the Superior Court in Newton County.
Yeah.
That was very unfortunate, the kind of an interesting time. I think that would have been very harmful to the residents because of the amount of caseload that we're dealing with and the types of cases that are down there. It really would have limited the access that people have and the time frame to get their redress in court. But that was subsequently, we were removed from that list and they got rid of some other superior courts. So it's something that may come up again in the future. And if it does, it does. But I think that my duty while I'm there for the next 6 years is to run it as well as I can. That's what.
Got a good start.
Yeah, I hope so. And I personally would like to say that I appreciate your attitude coming in here. That's very nice.
Well, I needed an attitude adjustment. If you want me to be candid, like I needed a different change of scenery. It is very hard doing what you guys do and sitting in this room. And so, you know, thank you. But I feel lucky to be here. I really have so far enjoyed it. It's a hard job, but it's a total change of perspective for me. I've never been on this side. Usually sitting down there, and I know what you guys are dealing with too, so. Anything I can do to make that easier, you let me know.
Thank you, Judge.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Is this Judge Leach's?
No, I just said there.
Oh.
Your number. That's fine.
Yes. Thank you.
It's okay, you can understand that.
Is there room? Is there room on that?
David, isn't there someplace?
Here's a, here's. That covers here. Yeah. Well, you did most of it. Yeah, we got one more.
Yeah, one more.
If we get situated.
Get
Okay,
back
no rush.
goes through.
Can I provide any assistance or, you know?
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Six. All 1,000.
You're looking at the 1,000, is that what you said?
On 660, the whole budget is, right, 1,000.
Yes.
County general budget,
Mhm.
660.
So as you'll notice, the only thing that comes out of county general to fund our office is our salary. Also, if I could speak for just a quick minute about, since I think some of you may not necessarily know everything that the prosecutor's office does and is responsible for. So I just want to maybe explain a couple of things, because I think there are some people who were surprised to learn a couple of things about our office's responsibilities. So you all know that we prosecute cases here in Newton County and that we have court appearances in Superior Court 3 times a week at least for criminal cases, misdemeanors and felonies. We also are involved in 4D cases, which are child support enforcement, and the majority of those fall in circuit court, although sometimes they're in Superior Court as well. So we appear in both of those courts. Additionally, we have special prosecutor cases where we actually, if a prosecutor, for example, in Jasper County has a conflict in a particular case, for some reason, they have a conflict of interest and can't prosecute that case, then those judges will send that out to a special prosecutor, and we're definitely on that list and get quite a few of them. So, we have cases in both Jasper Circuit and Jasper Superior Court. We also act in a special prosecutor capacity in Benton County. And also, in addition to criminal cases, this involves 4D cases as well in both of those 2 counties. And we do occasionally get a case out of Lake County once in a while also. We have one there currently. In addition to that, we provide on-call support for the sheriff's department, basically 24/7. Someone is available if a deputy or a town marshal or a state police officer, or anybody is on a scene or handling a call and they have a legal question or a concern, they call us and we answer, almost without fail. When we have major cases come up, as you may be aware, back in May, there was a homicide in Newton County with 2 defendants, 2 suspects involved who later became defendants. There were 2 of us actually most of the time, but always at least one of us on site at the office, at the sheriff's department or the prosecutor's office, available and invested and helping to secure search warrants, subpoenas, arrest warrants, charging information, sitting there side by side with the officer writing the probable cause affidavit until 3 o'clock in the morning. Because that's what it took to get it done. And that's what we believe is expected of us, and that's what we want to live up to. So, and Cody Spear,
You have 3.
yes.
You work it out where one of you is always available.
Yes. And so I am classified as a part-time elected prosecutor. So in Indiana, you can, as the elected, you can be either full-time or part-time. The state doesn't set an hour distinction between full-time and part-time. there's just two salaries, you get paid one or the other. And if you're full-time, it means that's exclusive. So you can't practice law in any other capacity if you are classified by the state as a full-time prosecutor. So I am classified as a part-time prosecutor, but I want to be clear that that does not mean that I don't work 40 hours a week or sometimes more in a prosecutorial capacity.
That gives you the opportunity to work for a municipality
Yes,
like Morocco.
example, yes, exactly. I can represent the town of Rock.
Yeah.
So our chief deputy is full-time with the state classification, and then our deputy prosecutor is not state paid, he's just county paid, and he's classified as a part-time prosecutor as well. So when you're looking at this budget, I'm sure what jumped out at you is that we requested a pretty significant increase in the salary for our part-time county-funded deputy prosecutor. And so the reason for that is that as I was looking back at this, it looks like the previous administration, even prior to Jeff Drinsky being in office, sort of had a set of expectations of people in the office, including the deputy prosecutor. And so historically, the deputy prosecutor did not have a great deal of responsibility. But as time has gone on, as the overall expectations of the office have increased, the expectations on that deputy prosecutor have increased as well. So I took the liberty of putting together a calculation so that I can maybe show you all the point that I'd like to make. And I don't know if this is the best way to demonstrate it, so if this doesn't make sense and it's not helpful, just feel free to ignore it. But on this chart, what you can see along the top there, you can see there are two lines for the elected prosecutor. The elected prosecutor. One is based on full-time and one is part-time. And that shows what the state salaries are and then what the county contribution is to take you to a total salary. And then if that was broken out at 40 hours a week, that shows you the hourly rate. And then I did the same thing for the full-time chief deputy and the part-time chief deputy. And then the fifth line down there says full-time state deputy. That's because in some counties, there is a deputy prosecutor position or sometimes more than one that are funded by the state. That does not apply here in Newton County, but I included those numbers for reference in case they're helpful. So the two lines that are shaded gray, those are the part-time. Those would be if you had someone who elected to take those roles part-time. And so what you see over in the far right column is the number of hours that that salary gets you if you pay it out at the same hourly rate as what's calculated in the line above it. Does that make sense? Did I say that right?
Yep.
Okay, great. So you can see that basically it appears that the state kind of approximates that at in the neighborhood of 26 hours a week. Although that's not specified anywhere. The salary for that position is currently approximately 36,000. I think it's 35,500. I rounded it to 36 on this spreadsheet just to make the math easier. So then in the lower section of the chart there, you can see what I did is with 3 different scenarios, I showed what that hourly rate breaks out to be depending on the number of hours per week we ask that person to work. So what I'm asking for when I submitted the request, in my mind, I think I said 56. I think on paper it might be 55, but I'm going to use the number 56 just for convenience sake because the math works. So if you look at the full-time state deputy salary being $61.76, I used the number $60 an hour as an approximation. We are currently asking Cody to work between 15 and 20 hours a week, winds up being the demand that that is out there for him to be able to assist us with. And so if you, look at the number, that comes out to about $60 an hour at 18 hours a week. Takes us to $56,000 a year. And while I understand that that is a very significant increase to ask for, especially all at once, I think you'll also notice that we did not ask for substantial increases for any of the other positions in the office.
Think I can hire Cody for $56 an hour?
I doubt it.
Is Cody inherently an attorney, be a prosecutor?
Yes. And a very good one.
So current, that position, there's no benefit. They're part-time.
No, so he's again, so the part-time classification means not exclusive. So he does have, county benefits, county insurance.
Yeah, it's. I'm gonna offer that to all of them.
Your benefits and the, chief deputy are in the by the state, is that correct?
And the county, we can elect either one.
Oh, okay.
I think you guys both love.
Just for clarification, what is the, your chief deputy is obviously deputy prosecutor, paid by the state.
Correct. With the exception of a $5,000 contribution from the county.
And then you've got other deputy prosecutors.
Just Cody.
Just a- How often do each of them, how many court calls they usually take on average a week?
So court calls, I would say, so typically Jeff, you'll see him in the morning on Wednesdays in Superior Court and the afternoons in Circuit. And then Cody, always on Friday mornings in Superior Court. And then, if Circuit Court has anything on Fridays, he covers that as well. Now we're getting into scenarios where we have special judges who have to come in and preside over some cases here because perhaps Judge Ryan was a deputy prosecutor at the time that a case was filed or something like that. So there are a few conflicts that we have. So Judge Wright or Judge Waddle tends to come over and they'll set a special call for those. So we have one actually coming up next Friday afternoon. And so those go as well. I'm gonna ballpark it and say 5 or 6 so far. So it's definitely not something that happens every week, but it's definitely something that happens. So I have had conversations with both judges, and there are times that it's difficult for my office to allocate a prosecutor because we'll have multiple things happening at the same time, while 2 of us are still also trying to maintain a civil practice as well. And so it is difficult. In order to incentivize Cody to be able to allocate a little more time for the things that we ask of him, and if I'm being honest, to fairly compensate him for the things he's already doing for us, we could really use some more funding in that category.
So who handles the,
I do.
how often? Sorry.
Sorry, I just wanted to add, there's also a lot that goes on behind the scenes in the office, reviewing cases, making charging decisions, making plea offers, reviewing discovery, talking to defense attorneys, getting things ready to go to trial or ready to go to contested hearings. There's a lot of legal research, and that's something that we all share. And I think, sometimes you won't necessarily see one of us in the office doing that because those are the kind of things that can be done from virtually anywhere. But I don't want there to be any mistake about the fact that everybody in my office is working the hours they're expected to and then some.
How often have you, been called to, work a case in another?
As a special prosecutor.
So that would only be like court appearances. I don't typically get those calls from officers or anything like that. I would say right now, in Jasper County, for example, between Circuit and Superior Court, we probably have in the neighborhood of 10 active cases over there right now. It has kind of decreased a little bit. We used to have a bit more than that. And then we have quite a few, I would say, that have been resolved either by plea agreement or something of that nature, but somebody may be on probation. And so that may, if they violate, that's gonna come back up. And so that's not necessarily something that we show as currently being an active case, but it is something that we're attached to. And then in Benton County, I would guess we probably have 6 to 8 right now.
So is there any compensation back and forth for when you're a special prosecutor in another county?
No, there's a reimbursement for mileage for the deputy prosecutor or the chief deputy. But as far as compensation for the hours, what we see is that it's reciprocated. So when we have a case that we need a special prosecutor for, one of them takes it.
So the pay comes from basically your home county.
Yeah, it's just an included part of our duty.
They help you too.
Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
So,
Yep, so Jacob Tallman takes quite a few special prosecutor cases over here, or occasionally we'll have one that Rex Kempner will be assigned to from Benton County.
question, aside from budgets, just in general policy to prosecutor versus say Marion County. You have a policy in place for predator poachers programs to go around and do sting operations where some counties don't participate at all. Has that happened here? Did it happen in Brook or something like that?
It did, and so we don't have an across the board policy on that. We look at each situation individually and look at the facts of each specific one. There are certainly times where those people, although I'm sure they mean well, they can actually do a lot to inadvertently compromise an investigation and make it very difficult for a prosecutor to be able to prosecute. In the instance that we had, I don't really know that it's appropriate for me to comment a whole lot about it, other than to say that we did file charges in that case.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions, comments? So we'll do the 1,000. Speak sometime.
Okay.
And we'll let everybody know when we got a better idea of what that might be.
Okay.
Thank you, Becky.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, we got more to do. I'm sorry. 1182. It hasn't changed though. That's wrong. Haven't found it. 1182. User fee, pre-trial diversion. $8,810. Slight increases.
Post flies. Rental went up too.
I see that.
I'll make a motion to approve 2,000 to 3,000 series in Fund 1182 as requested.
Second.
On this one, you guys could probably do the 1,000 category because she just came in for the request of $45 an hour for that fund. So I don't really think it's probably going to change because since we already established it at 24, I mean, in 25, she's doing it also in 26. I mean, if you wanna,
Go ahead and add that to my motion.
1, 2, 3, and 4, the entire budget.
Yeah.
For a second,
And I did.
you did?
Yeah, I
We
did.
did.
Nick did.
Yes, sir.
Motion by Tom, second by Mick to approve the 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, and 4,000 categories in 1182 as requested. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 2,400.
Whole lot there.
User fee infraction deferral.
I'll make a motion to approve. I guess all of that.
The entire budget.
Yeah, the entire budget for the user-free infraction deferral. 1, 2, 3, and 4,000 categories.
Second. Motion from Mick, second by Matt to approve the entire budget as requested for budget 2,400. These are the fraction deferral. Discussion? Second. Mick. Matt. Or Matt. Second.
Well, it helps that there's a fee.
Motion by Mick, seconded by Matt. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now I think we're done.
Thank you, Becky.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Two. Anything else, Devin?
not that I know of, unless you wanna go through some of yours or mine, or we can just wait until, because Kayla will be here. Honestly. She will be here Wednesday morning.
What I'm gonna do here is in case you get called away.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I just put the book we did.
That's good thinking, David. The auditors.
There might be a possibility of my daughter due any day.
Ah. Well. That change.
County General 002. Budget request of $270,440.
What?
My goodness. And almost all of it's in the 1,000 category.
My tax sale cost, the cost is just going up. We have more properties on tax sale, so that's the reason I'm increasing that. And there could be a possibility we might do a commissioner sale next year. So that's also why I put in that figure a little more.
Commissioner sale, is that like that?
So the commissioners.
Yeah.
On a commissioner sale,
That'd be cheap,
after
idiot.
3 years of a taxpayer not paying property taxes, the commissioners have a right to sell that property. And the bids come in like starting out at $35 to $50. It's a much shorter sale. It's only 180 days instead of 365 or 365 days. And then they also get the liens waived if they follow all the procedures in this, and that's just to help get it back into the tax roll.
So the lien holder gets nothing out of it.
Look at the property.
I thought it broke them off.
We will write off any liens that are there. If they follow through and the judge honors it, if there's liens on that property, they can be removed. On a commissioner's.
Tax, not necessarily private.
They could if they budget or they do their proper
Their
work.
file for it.
Just carries out of money.
there's a lot of like work in a very short time.
Is it done very often here?
We try about every 3 years. Our last one was not this year, the year before, and we were able to sell a lot of small properties. That's our biggest holdup. Otherwise, it's not worth the money that we have to spend and charge on everybody's properties, because then the county's paying out that fee. Sometimes it's hard to get back. The reason I am requesting higher in my salaries is, not only does the auditor do a lot of work, it takes the whole staff to do this. And I was asking that, my chief deputy get paid at 85% of my salary, and the other deputies, they'll still fall in the pay matrix 75%. If it's not them working in there, I mean, they're the ones that help me meet every deadline and stuff, so that was on my request and why so much higher. I know there's other counties that's how they're paying their auditor staff. I was just throwing it out there.
So we adjusted the elected a year ago. They're not 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Not everybody's making the same. I don't
Right.
remember how that particular thing was. Auditor, treasurer.
The auditor, whatever you said, the base elected official, the auditor gets 15% more. The clerk and the treasurer, no. not the treasurer. The clerk and the assessor gets 10%, and then the treasurer gets 5% more of whatever the base salary is.
I don't remember how it was. I knew. They all did the same.
All of their officials usually get paid the same except for the sheriff. And in 2024, you guys changed that.
So on the base pay, all that would be the surveyor.
Reporter.
Breakdown 15% for auditor, 10 for
10% should be for the assessor and the clerk, and 5% for the treasurer.
So
That's calculated on.
10% category in there.
I'm sorry, I can't
Yeah, you're
hear
wrong.
David.
There's 15% for auditor and clerk. 5%.
15% for auditor,
Okay,
10% for clerk and assessor, 5% for treasurer.
got it. Thank you.
And your base elected officials would be your recorder and your surveyor.
And those percentages are based off of that, the
Correct.
base. Got it, okay.
So once you figure out what that is, the others are unpaid.
Got it.
And then there had been discussion over the years about trying to get the deputies on a percentage, which is what Tammy's proposed here for hers.
So the deputies within her department get paid more than deputies in another department too, is that overall rate? I understand it over.
I mean, that's what I'm requesting, every department can request their own, that's what I would like to put in mind.
Got it.
I really haven't asked for any more help or anything, and I think we're doing a good job, and
And that is something that the number of employees in the courthouse is down quite a bit. When I came on the council, a long time ago, I understand that, but we have not grown the number of employees county, just in the courthouse itself. Maybe not overall anywhere, because I think sheriff's department, I think there are a couple deputies less than it was at its maximum. That'd be right.
Oh, yeah.
I think even highway employees are down a little bit of what they were at the maximum. So I would guess maybe jail and 911 haven't changed a lot because those are a little more.
Well, jail had actually dropped, they had 25% of their staff cut.
Did they?
10 years ago. And then they determined to, instead of paying the 25% of the full-time salaries, they just opened up the, part-time put a good amount of money at that to take care of the positions left open by full-time positions. And, that just was a result, a revolving door that was, pretty much leading us into, litigation just because of the possibility of things going right because you got new people in there all the time, because like I said, it was revolving door. And then it got to be where we weren't getting many people to, even do that. And they eventually got, turned back into time positions. Well, bringing up another case, the clerk's office, they tried to go down to just the clerk and one deputy at the time, was that correct, or was there two?
Two deputies.
And now they have to come back this year to get another deputy.
She has 3 deputies and herself, and then the part-time for election. Her part-time, that's nothing but election.
2 years ago, there was 5 or 6 in there. Carol was done that. So even back up to still less than it was
The auditor's office used to have 6,
6.
then I have 3 myself. Might have been 5 in the, yeah, it was 5 in the, elected official.
Assessor's office, 5 or 6.
Is technology helping with that, or is it the state is like changing?
We didn't
stuff?
have choice. Council had to come in and make some cuts, but also, yes, I feel a lot is technology.
That has changed itself.
I mean, you're paying for it in your vendors, but it's still cheaper than sometimes having to pay all of your employees in the benefit package.
Right.
But I feel every office is running at its capacity. We can't go any less. I mean, the treasurer recorder is already, there's only 2 of them. Clerk is down to 4.5. I have 4 total, so.
Is the recorder's office actually that busy?
They run into an issue that if the elected official isn't there or for lunchtime, then the office is vacant. No, is the recorder's office is busy? No. But it is still
The recorder's office has been busy with some spurts.
correct.
Yes, seasonal. I don't know.
I mean, I still feel you need, well, it is one has a statute for first deputy, so it would be still. Have a lot of time in there.
But if they had more than what's in there now?
Years ago, yes,
There was.
they had 3 in there.
And, related issue with having to house elected officials. Why is it required that our surveyor be housed in county seat Kenman?
Statute.
It's statute.
No, I mean, is it a state statute or?
Yes.
That's not easily changed. Just thinking of the cost of overhead.
When you go with statute, it's rarely the Morocco for a while.
We get in trouble for that.
That's where the better play. So
I think though,
we elected a different surveyor and we said, I'm not going to Morocco, the state statute says I go, you have to be in Kent. Okay. Oh.
I didn't know that happened.
You make it over.
yeah, I think those that are housed in the county seat, you have to be in the county seat. Yeah.
So other offices are affected by, like your office, that's city. Okay.
I think the only other one that could possibly move out is the assessor. I don't think he's required to be in the county seat.
I think you can have a satellite, literally, can't you? If you're gonna do it. Say the auditor, there was 2 offices, satellite.
Yes. Yeah, there was
Satellite.
2 offices.
Yeah. Seat. I don't know, count, as it counts. Gonna make it there, Mick? Yeah, it's pretty tight.
I see some laps.
So. Back on the auditor's budget. $103,000, not many changes.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2 and 3,000 as submitted.
Second. Oh, that was a tie.
I go for that.
You can let David have it. Oh, Mick kind of. Motion by Tom, seconded by Mick to approve the 2,000 and 3,000 categories in the auditor's county general budget as requested. Any discussion? Questions? All those in favor say aye.
I,
It says,
Opposed, motion carried. You wanna do the counselor real quick?
I have more.
Well, no, you got more, don't you?
Yeah.
I have 17. What's that supposed to? Just one, 12, 7.
That's elected official thing.
Yes. Those 5 offices can use money, the recorder collects its money. I asked to bump it up a little bit, we have money sitting in there. And this is used when any of us have state held meetings, we can utilize this money and not have to use county general money. It's been at 400 for years and years, but our costs are going up, so I bumped it up.
I'll make a motion to approve that as a category, which is the only one there in Fund 1217 as requested.
Second.
We have over $19,000.
I don't think you something like that.
Yeah.
Motion for Tom, second by Matt to approve the 12-17 county elected official training
Yes,
budget as requested. Discussion?
it can only be state called meetings, says we can use that money.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. 4,700 self-insurance. Do we want to do this now?
I mean, we could wait.
No.
I have spoke with, Alma, and she's actually thinking we're gonna have a decrease. She doesn't have quite all the numbers. Wow. So I'm leaving it where it's at.
Well, there isn't any changes, so it's taken care of this motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the 4,700 as requested.
We don't have to.
Huh?
There's no change.
There's no change.
Oh, we don't have to, you're right, sorry.
I mean, if you want to, we'll get you in a minute.
That's okay.
You can do 4904, 4984.
Gotta find it. Clear towards the back. Transfer fee. Oh, doubled the budget.
The reason,
Oh, we're
I'm
rebinding.
required by law that I have to maintain all the transfer books, the plat books and everything. Our plat books are starting to get a little shabby. But there is some that I'm going to have refound, and that's to preserve the covers. And, so I'm gonna have to call them out, and this has been the same rate for more than 10 years, so I know it's increased, is the only reason I'm asking to have this increase. And this comes actually out of money that we collect every time somebody transfers property. We charge $10 per transfer, so this is where I'm collecting this money, it's fee-based.
I assume there's a lot of money in that.
But it's been a long time and we haven't touched it. I mean, I haven't covered this.
All yours, Mick.
I make a motion to approve the
I have $86,000.
4984 budget as requested.
Motion by Mick, seconded by David to approve the 4984 auditor transfer budget as requested. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Now you wanna get them council?
Yeah, I don't care, or do we want to wait till Heidi's here? Let's wait till Heidi's here.
Yeah, she might want to pay a rate.
She might. Well, we're not gonna do 1,000.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know if there's much. Oh, yeah, we got a little check sheet. A little bit, numbers are 61, 67. Yeah. But I think we ought to. Water. No business.
This is the AV conversation. So don't hit me.
So is there anything else today we need to take care of before we recess?
I will stay and work on getting those couple, apartments and move out of landfill into county general. And then trying to see where those numbers lands.
Um,
No, that was just a little injured when I went back, like, trying to get up.
that's good. So if there's nothing else. Recess for us, I will recess this budget workshop until tomorrow morning at 8:30. We are.
I can remember you used to get a bell.
Do I need to bring a bell? Is that what we need to do?
Nowadays. There's always a bell around the bell. I imagine there probably was a crook too, but